Hello, my name's Richard Selby, and in this video I'd like to run through some of the really useful support and information resources that are available for Trimble Business Centre. I'd like to start off on the home page, or the start page. Right here you will see, if you have an internet connection, a panel will appear, and this panel contains useful news and updates about Trimble Business Centre, links to technical tip documents, upcoming webinars and product release information. So in terms of getting the latest up-to-date news specifically about Trimble Business Centre, this is a really good place to view and keep an eye on. Likewise, if the software recognises that there are new updates available for your installation, then a link will appear here which you can click on in order to see which updates are available. So I'll just do that, and we can see that there's some an updated coordinate system database that I need to install in order to update my system completely. This link is in effect the same as the check for updates button here on the support ribbon. So the support ribbon lives at the extreme right hand end of the ribbons bar, so it's a little bit overlooked, but as I said, it contains really useful information. So looking along here from right to left, registering your software is a good idea if you want to receive emails containing news similar to the news feed here about product release and tips and webinar information, etc. The license manager will show the modules that are activated for your license. If it's a network license, whether those can be checked out off network, and what your license warranty expiration date is, as well as the key ID of your installations. That's a unique reference for your either your TBC hardlock or your software based installation. If you have a TBC product active, then you can set some predefined views for your projects here. But moving on, we have the options button, which is also available from the file menu as options, but it allows you to set some of the default overall options for your TBC install. So a particularly useful one might be the external services profiles, for instance, where you can log in to Trimble Clarity for publishing point cloud data, Connect for syncing data with the field, and other machine control related services as well. So one single sign-in can allow you to sign in and connect to multiple services from within TBC. So there's plenty there in the options panel to take a look at. Define shortcuts, well, it is what it says, but again, if you've got favoured keyboard shortcuts that you like to use in CAD or other software and you'd like to set them up the same in TBC, then you can go in here and you can click on this drop down, get a link of the commands that you can create shortcuts for, and set a shortcut for it here. So for example, if I look here in my installation at undo, I've got undo set as keyboard shortcut control 1. If you want to see a summary of the shortcuts that are defined, just tap Excel report and it will open your spreadsheet software with a view of your currently defined shortcuts. So any of these you want to change or set, this is the place to do it. Here you can customize ribbons, so you can control which ribbons are displayed, and further to that you can control which functions are on each of the ribbons. Okay, so we've got the main ribbons here. So I look at the survey ribbon. You can determine whether that's viewable or not, and which tasks are set on that ribbon. There are ribbon defaults that you can pick from here as well. So we've got custom, default, survey and construction. So if you have a particular bias to a certain workflow, you can pick it from here and it will resort the tabs for you based on your selection. Set mine back to a custom setting. Trimble library. So we're getting into resources here, information resources, rather than tweaks or settings for TBC specifically, which are over here more on the right hand side. So Trimble library is going to link you into the retrieve website. You'll need a login for this, but it's easy to register for that, and in here you'll find resources which are really more orientated to civils and construction workflow processes here, but also links into the TBC TML macros and some information about the macros here. Then you have a link into the macro community. So perhaps I should say a few words about macros. TBC has its own macro programming language. So if you're a little bit handy with programming, you can develop your own functionality for TBC and utilize it within the software. So on this page we can see macros that are available for TBC, either that are developed by Trimble themselves or have been developed by third parties such as Rockpile. Here you can use TML Status just to check the current status of any macros you've got installed, whether there are updates available for them, and what new macros are available to install as well. Again, this will require a sign-in. So here we can see all the macros that are available to install, whether there are new versions available. For a lot of mine there are new versions available by the looks of it. So some by Trimble, as I say, some by third-party providers such as Rockpile. And you can go to the likes of Rockpile solutions if there's a function that you need, or something that you've used in the past, perhaps in another Trimble product, and you want to see something similar replicated in TBC. Then getting a macro developed to suit your needs might just be the solution that you require. Okay, so there's a link here into Rockpile, who developed this TML Status useful little macro app to see what, as I say, to see what new macros are available to use with TBC. So the Rockpile ones, these will most likely be ones that you need to pay an amount in order to get access to them within TBC. A lot of the Trimble, if not all of the Trimble ones, will be free to install and operate. So the reason I hopped onto there, if I go back to the support ribbon, you've got the next button along, which is onto the macro community page. Now the macro community is hosted within the wider Trimble community website. So if you're not already registered for the Trimble community, then it's something that you should consider doing as a TBC user, as it's a great place for asking questions, exchanging ideas or looking for help with the way that you work with data in TBC. But this is the section of the community website that's dedicated to development of macros, where if you're a developer you can get the resources that you need to develop macros yourself, or discuss existing macros and request macros and so on. So in the same community website here we've got links into the construction community discussion area and the geospatial community discussion area. So again, let that load up. You can just see here it's a good place where if you've got problems or issues, or you just want some general help or ideas, you can see it's a very active community. Lots of people registered from who are using TBC globally, as well as Trimble staff who can contribute and answer questions that you might have. So it's a great place for discussion here. Moving along, we've got a link to the Power Hour webpage. So there's been some great TBC and other geospatial power hours over the years. This is a link to the overall geospatial webinar centre, so not just TBC but covering areas as we can see here such as mobile mapping and monitoring, GIS, linking in with site vision, etc. So there's a lot of webinar resources on here that you can access from that link. And also within the Trimble community, I'll just flip to this page. This is a page that I have bookmarked. This is the TBC Power Hour Vault. So this is a list of the Trimble Power Hours going back with some kind of context as to their subject matter. Again, we'll come to that again in a moment. Got links into Facebook page, YouTube channel, the Trimble construction website, the geospatial website. So if I just hop onto the geospatial website, talking about those Power Hour archive, there's a really useful document on here. So this one, TBC Resources PDF presentation. Okay, let's just click on that. This is a document that's well worth accessing and downloading if you're into TBC. Every now and again you can see when it's last updated, because there's a lot of links in here that need keeping up to date. Okay, so scrolling through, we've got links to various TBC resources. We've got the geospatial web page, which this document was linked to where the tutorials are hosted, the YouTube channel, the power hours, the tech tips, TBC tech tips page here, as you can see hosted on the community. The general geospatial community, which is where I was looking a moment ago. The construction community, the macros. So a lot of these, as we see, have direct links on buttons from within TBC, but here you've got the links shown in this document too. You've got a link to the Geospatial Help portal with a specific TBC button there. The Retrieve portfolio of information. Okay, so sorted by topic, GNSS data, RTK baselines, level data, total station data. So again, resources, network adjustment here, tutorials, power hour links, relevant YouTube videos and relative tech documents. So if you've got a query or you need further information on a specific function or workflow area, now you might find a link to a tech tip document or a tutorial or a power hour here, which is going to help you out. So a really useful document this, and this is a document that I just keep on my desktop for when I need help or information myself on any of these subjects. So now we're just into the general learning area here. We've got a README about the latest changes in TBC. You've got a link into the various release notes for TBC. And there's also a release notes archive page as well. This button here will take you onto the tutorials page, and there's some really good tutorials here, very detailed tutorials that you can download in order to help with your familiarization with TBC. Okay, so for example, if you're interested in working with IFC models through TBC, working with either with them in TBC or perhaps georeferencing them for field use, there's some good info here, and likewise for managing data for export for visualization in field using Trimble Sight Vision. So lots of useful tutorials in here. Then we have the TBC Help, so you can use F1 to get your context sensitive help. Clicking the Help button here will just take you to the Help homepage, but it has the search option in here as well. And if you're in a project and the start page has disappeared, as it will, and you want to bring it back, then you can just hit the start page button to bring this page to the front again. Okay, so I hope that video was useful. There are some really good links on here to information and resources that you should be aware of, particularly check for updates, the Trimble community, the tutorials, the Power Hours, and the Power Hour archive, which are all of those things are referenced in that handy PDF that you can download from the Geospatial website. Okay, thanks for watching. If you've got any questions about Trimble products or TBC in particular, please feel free to get in touch.